I don't even know where to start, man. Oh, I don't know. This club is going to be the death for me, I promise you. Um, Short and sweet, I'm just going to get through it. Basically, we've had midweek games from Tuesday all the way to yesterday. We're going to go through them all. We're going to start at Molineux. Wolves 1, Burnley 0. Not the best of games to start with. It was pretty terrible. But Wang Hee-chan on the score sheet again, now on 8 Premier League goals for the season, having a phenomenal season. Wolverhampton having a decent season as well, to be quite honest. Burnley didn't really show anything of what they're about in this game, obviously after coming off a 5-0 win against Sheffield United in the game before. Wolverhampton obviously in the ascendancy here as well. This result is actually a really, really good one for them, considering all the bad luck they've had previously. But it pretty much went the way I thought it would go. I didn't see the game, but Wolverhampton are one of those teams that will come at you from all different kinds of angles, to be fair. So it would all depend on what Burnley decide to do now moving forward. I don't think Burnley had an attack all game against Wolverhampton. And if they did, it wasn't anything of merit, to be fair. So yeah, bit of a strange one for Burnley, but Wolverhampton adding to their growing resume this season of decent results. Luton Town 3, Arsenal 4. Arguably the game of the Premier League season so far from Kenilworth Road. Man, Luton should have held on after 3-2. Just shut up shop, put 11 players behind the ball. Do whatever you got to do. Great game. I thought Luton gave a really good account of themselves. Very, very good. Full of running. Ross Barkley was phenomenal. I thought his midfield display was second to none. I thought it was really special. Andros Townsend, obviously, with the added experience. Luton did really well. Arsenal, obviously, individually better players. Ultimately won it with the last kick of the game. Declan Rice in the 97th minute from an Ødegaard cross. I don't think Arsenal were that good, to be honest. Conceding 3 goals at Kenilworth Road. Don't get me wrong, Kenilworth Road is a tough place to go, but I know they got the 3 points, but if you are going to go to these places, you can't be conceding like that. And they were 3-2 down at one point. The goalkeeper situation isn't going to help them this season. They don't have a striker. I mean, yeah, they are spreading out the goals, but how long is your luck gonna last for? And this is why I don't see them winning the league. I'm not at all worried about what they're doing now. It's not gonna, give them any benefit end of the season because they're not winning the league. Simple as that for me. But a good win for them nonetheless. We'll move on to Bramall Lane. Chris Wilder's first game in charge. It ended Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2. Didn't see the game again. Didn't look like one of those games that I would want to see, to be honest. It looked quite boring, to be fair, from what I saw. But Virgil van Dijk got his first goal of the season, scoring against Sheffield United, of course. Liverpool slowly and quietly going about their business at the moment. Nobody's really talking about them at the minute, which is strange and bizarre to me, considering the second in the league, only 2 points behind Arsenal, have literally not lost a game this season after we beat them. They haven't lost since. So they've quietly gone about their business and absolutely beaten, slapping teams left, right and centre. And I don't see him being stopped anytime soon at the moment. On to Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Nottingham Forest. This was on the Wednesday. Nottingham Forest got taken to the cleaners, to be quite honest. Fulham, what more can you say? Taken to the cleaners, slapped about, sent to the cookout. They got sent to the shops, mate. Fulham absolutely cruising in that game. Raul Jimenez even got on the score sheet with a couple of goals. Nottingham Forest had no response to it. Fulham absolutely blew them out of the water. Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 2 was the shock of the round for me, considering I had Palace to win this quite simply and quite easily at a canter. Didn't happen. Didn't even score a goal in front of their Selhurst Park faithful. Bournemouth came with a game plan and executed it perfectly. Defended very, very well. Defended deep, had a low block, and then obviously hit Palace on the break at will, it seemed. Brighton versus Brentford was from the Amex Stadium. That ended 2-1 in Brighton's favour, even though Brighton did go down a goal early on to Brentford. Brighton obviously turned things around in that game. Brighton will do that to you. They are a very, very capable team. And like I said, they do tend to adapt quite well. I don't think their squad is actually big enough. I think their squad is actually quite thin. But in saying that, the players that they do have in the 11 are good enough to obviously cause you problems. And that's exactly what happened to Brentford, who themselves have a very decent squad, have been having really, really good success this season as well. But this one at the Amex was always going to be a difficult challenge for a team like Brentford. Man United versus Chelsea were from Old Trafford, an old classic game between those two. Man United coming out winners. Scott McTominay having 5 shots on target in a game of football, playing as a DM. That doesn't happen. He should be a striker. I think he actually plays as a striker coming up through the ranks. But he scored 2 of the goals. Cole Palmer on the score sheet again for Chelsea. Cole Palmer is a cold player. But Chelsea are a mess. You don't spend £1 billion on that squad and have that team playing. It just doesn't make sense. Thiago Silva's still playing. His legs are going. Badiashile's on the bench. It just doesn't make sense to me. But Man United walked out 2-1 winners of that game at Old Trafford. Still a very, very tough game to obviously. It's a tough place to go to. Tough game to have. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Not much of a shock on this one on the cards for me there. I did actually say Aston Villa would probably beat Man City, and I think I went 2-1. So I was right with regards to the goal gap. But I thought Man City obviously would score, but they didn't. Aston Villa did. Leon Bailey was on fire the whole game. And he obviously scored a deflected shot, which gave Aston Villa 3rd place. They jumped up above Manchester City. City currently 4th at the moment. Aston Villa play Arsenal this weekend, which we'll obviously get to in a minute. On to last night then. Everton 3, Newcastle 0. That was live from Goodison Park. A little bit of a shock at the scoreline because Everton have been horrendous at home recently. But Newcastle were absolutely terrible. And Anthony Gordon was shocking all game. Kieran Trippier looks like he might be finished, to be honest. And Everton just put Newcastle to the sword. It has galvanised them, that 10-point deduction. I'm going to be honest, it has really galvanised them. And they've picked up some really decent results because of it. Newcastle, on the other hand, you know, they do play us this weekend. That is a fight now. That's going to be a complete slog. And I'll tell you why. Because we played West Ham last night from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Went ahead through Christian Romero, a great header from a really good corner from Pedro Porro. And then all of a sudden, second half, we just didn't show up. We just thought, you know, we'd cruise the game. We can't do that. We had all the chances in the world in the first half to finish it off, and we're not doing it. We're not putting the ball in the back of the net after the first goal. It's happened in every single game of the last 5. We've scored first and they've yet to pick up maximum points from them. It's a fundamental problem. It could be something to do with the mental side of things. Whether the players are confident enough to obviously take shots. I feel like we tried to walk the ball in at too many opportunities when we should be trying to shoot. We could nick a deflection. Anything that we can do to obviously try to score goals, we're not doing. And we obviously gave West Ham both of their goals. We were the ones that obviously from their throw-in should have kept possession a bit better. Didn't do so. Ended up being counted on. Had a shot against us which ricocheted off 2 of our defenders. Jared Bowen had a nice easy tap in, and then the second goal, don't even get me started on Destiny Udogie, who I love, by the way, but no need for you to pass the ball back there. And as you've done that, obviously Vicaria is in no man's land. 2 players attacking in on him, Jared Bowen and James Ward-Prowse, who ended up getting a second goal, clearly the winner. And Tottenham lose another game, still sitting in 5th, so it's not all bad, but obviously losing ground as we were first about 2 months ago. Anyway, on to this weekend's rounds. Match day 16 we're at. We start off at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Liverpool have a great record at Palace, and every time they go there, they seem to score 3 or more. So I'm going to go with a Liverpool win here. I'm going to say 3-0 to Liverpool here. Wolverhampton versus Nottingham Forest. That's from Molyneux. I'm going to go with a Wolverhampton win. Quite easy and straightforward. We'll go 2-0 there. Brighton versus Burnley from the Amex. That is going to be a Brighton win for me. We're going to go 2-0 again. Sheffield United versus Brentford. I've got a draw written all over that. That is from Bramall Lane. That will be a draw for me, 1-1 I think. Manchester United versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth are going great guns at the moment at Old Trafford. Bournemouth don't tend to travel well when they go to the Theatre of Dreams, so I probably plumb for a Man United narrow win We'll go for a 1-0 win there against Bournemouth. Aston Villa versus Arsenal is the late kickoff on the Saturday night football. I am going to put my neck on the line and say Aston Villa are going to come out victorious there. They've got a style of playing. Obviously, Unai Emery, the former manager, used to be manager at Arsenal, has a point to prove. And I think Aston Villa are going to, Arsenal are going to come unstuck at Aston Villa. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win Villa there. Luton Town versus Manchester City. This is on Sunday from Kenilworth Road. Manchester City at the moment are not in good form, and Luton Town at home can give you a game. I do see Manchester City getting something out of this, and I will probably go for a 3-1 win Manchester City's way. Fulham versus West Ham. That is from Craven Cottage. We will go Fulham here. I'm going 2-1 to Fulham. Everton versus Chelsea. That's on Goodison Park. After Everton's performance against Newcastle, I see them doing that again. Chelsea obviously not in form either. Everton will win this game 2-1 for me. And then the final game is Tottenham versus Newcastle. That is from the London Stadium. It's going to be a fight, like I said before. Both these teams need W's. We need it more than them, I think. And I'm going to plumb for a 2-1 Tottenham narrow win. Don't ask me why, to be quite honest. I just feel like at some point the penny's going to drop and we're just going to absolutely pummel someone. It needs to happen. We need the points. Anyway, that's my roundup today. I told you it'd be short and sweet. Try to enjoy the weekend. If you got Christmas parties and that, try to enjoy those. Enjoy the football, of course. The next time you'll see me will be in the next week before the Friday night kickoff, which will be from the City Ground, and that is Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham. So we do need to pick up points against Newcastle because that Forest game will not be easy for us, and that will be an 8 o'clock kickoff as well next week, Friday. So yeah, enjoy your evenings. If you've got Christmas parties to go to, enjoy them, and I will see you in the week next week in a bit.